Good day, students. I welcome you to today's class on rats in pathology. I'm just going to open a new chapter, small but easy for us to decipher. At the same time, it is of paramount importance because a good number of questions are repeatedly asked from these. Hence, let us pay our kind attention to this. As mentioned earlier, Racing Against Time for Students in Pathology, in which I shall be covering the MGT and the urinary bladder. Let us see the battery of questions that we have to face. It might be testis, prostate, and also the urinary bladder at a later date. Cryptorchidism, a very weird question in pathology. However, this has been asked as a short note. It might be a short case in your clinical subjects, a specimen of an atrophy testis, and a few MCQs also. Though not logical, let us see it. The word cryptos means hidden and orchis means testicle. Obviously, cryptorchidism means it is a hidden testis. It is defined as the absence of the testis in the scrotum. There are two terminologies. One is a true cryptorchidism, in which it can be held anywhere in its pathway of descent. So it can be either in the abdomen or in the inguinal region or in the suprascrotal region. Whereas ectopic is away from it. So it can be prepenile, it can be femoral, etc. So these two terms are different. So the location is, it can be anywhere in the pathway of descent from the kidney to the inguinal canal. The word ectopic, on the contrary, means wandering, and it can be in the perineum or the femoral canal. Sometimes you find that the testis is undeveloped or there is some dysgenesis, as a result of which you do not find it in the scrotum. So these are the incidences. It can be in the abdominal cavity or in the inguinal canal or in the high scrotal region. And this is a normal testis over here. What are the causes of this cryptorchidism? It can occur in premature infants, exposure to chemicals and pesticides. When there is a family history, there is a chance. Multiple congenital anomalies. It is said that whenever there is one congenital anomaly, look for something elsewhere. And in vitro fertilization of the mother can also result in the cryptorchidism in the fetus. And look at this particular picture of it. This is a testis showing this eosinophilic region is a thickened basement membrane. And these are the germinal cells. However, they do not mature beyond a point. This is called as maturation arrest. And sometimes we can see bluish areas of calcification. Testis obviously is reduced in size and weight. And the complications of undescended testis include reduced fertility, torsion. It can be an abdominal emergency. It can lead to a testicular tumor, or rather, a testicular tumor can go unnoticed if it develops in an undescended testis. Inflammation such as epididymoarthritis, etc., is common, and there can be a hernia or a trauma. Please by heart this list. Infertility, it can be a psychological trauma to the individual leading to a hernia, a trauma. Sometimes a cancer can go undetected. And the treatment for it is orchidopexy or correction in the position so that it can be followed up and If possible, the patient can also be fertile. This is actually more important for today, testicular tumors and seminoma. This is an essay question. Seminoma can be part of the essay or it can be a short note by itself. Be strong in your basics. The advice of my professor from Japan. This is the structure of the testis. We shall just recollect. You find that there is a tunica albuginea that is covering it. These are the seminiferous tubules, and the dark colored area is the interstitial matrix. The testicular parenchyma is divided into lobules, and you find that it curves. There is an epididymis over here, finally a vas deferens, and the spermatic cord, which will be delivering the spermatozoa. So this particular diagram, I had given it only for the purpose of follow-up. The same thing is depicted here. This is a single seminiferous tubule. This is a basement membrane which is quite thin, and there are two components basically. You find that there is a germinal epithelium that is capable of producing the spermatozoa, and these are actually the spermatozoa, and in between we'll be having cells which are called the Sartoli cells. So the spermatozoa will be deriving the nutrition from these, and these are the various stages of this spermatogenesis. And these all form the germinal epithelium. So please have this in mind. Externally, we see interstitium in which we can have the Leydig cells. This is a very beautiful schematic diagram. Please understand. There is a germ cell. After all, both the testis and the ovary are germinal organs. There is a germ cell from which there can be spermatogonia if it is unfertilized. And then this can lead on to a seminoma, or rather, this will be the source of a seminoma. Extra embryonic tissues, when it is going to be developed, can lead to, for example, when there is going to be a placental maturation, there can be a choriocarcinoma from it. Or a yolk sac can lead to what is called as a yolk sac tumor. And sometimes we have got undifferentiated embryonic tissue from which we can develop an embryonal carcinoma. If at all a fetus develops from it and it is abnormal, a teratoma is possible. So this is a beautiful schematic diagram. I repeat, germinal epithelium from the spermatogonia producing cells, there is a seminoma, and in the undifferentiated cells, embryonic cells, you can have an embryonal carcinoma. If it is differentiated into the placental organs, you find that there is a choriocarcinoma. From the yolk sac, you have got a yolk sac tumor. And if it is going to develop into a fetal and malgenesis due to it can lead to a teratoma. And this is the same one that is given for recapitulation. This is the classification that I would like you to by heart and write. So germ cell tumors are divided into seminoma and non-seminomatous germ cell tumors. Seminoma itself is divided into the classical seminoma with syncytial trophoblastic cells, spermatocytic seminoma, anaplastic seminoma. Three types are there. Non-seminomatous germ cell tumors include the embryonal carcinoma, teratoma. There are various types of it, monodermal, a well-developed cystic teratoma, or there is an immature teratoma which can lead to malignancy. Trophoblastic tumors such as choriocarcinoma, yolk sac tumor, or its counterpart called the endodermal sinus tumor, mixed germ cell tumors. So these are all the germ cell tumors. Please memorize. Do not get confused. I had explained it earlier and I am repeating it. Seminomatous tumors, non-seminomatous germ cell tumors. And this is the list. And there is something called the sex cord or the stromal tumors. Sex cord, we have mentioned the Sartoli cells. So there is a Sartoli cell tumor. In the interstitium, we can get the Leydig cell tumor, or sometimes there is a counterpart of the ovary, a granulosa cell tumor can be there. and a combination of Sartori Leydig cell tumor. There is also a group called unclassified tumors in which lymphoma we should have in mind. For example, Burkitt's lymphoma can occur in the testis. So please remember this classification. The question will run like this: classify the tumors of the testis. This is again a beautiful schematic picture taken from Robbins. You have got the germ cell precursor, and in which there is a seminomatous development, non-seminomatous one. When there is going to be a gonadal differentiation, you find that there is seminoma. Or when there is a non-seminomatous lineage, there will be an embryonal carcinoma. From the embryonal carcinoma, somatic differentiation, there can be a teratoma, which we had mentioned earlier. It can be immature, mature, or malignant transformation. Embryonal carcinoma itself can further develop into either a choriocarcinoma because of trophoblastic differentiation or into a yolk sac tumor by means of yolk sac differentiation. I think people should draw the flow diagram of this as well as the classification mentioned earlier. And coming to the causes, it can be genetic. And whenever there is an abnormality in one testis, the other can be having a malignancy. And various other causes such as radiation or chemical therapy induced, or it can be embryogenesis defect, or it can be endocrine. Please have these causes in mind and explain. We go to the seminoma. This has been asked innumerable number of times, innumerable times. It is the commonest testicular tumor. Testicular means tumor of the testis. And the peak is in the 4th decade. It can occur from 40 to 50 years. More common on the right side, a surgical finding. And it usually presents as a painless mass. Absence of pain is an ominous sign. That is what Bailey and Love surgery says. 30% of these cases can end up in metastasis. And this is a diagram taken from the Mayo Clinic, showing you the normal testis, and this is the epididymis, and it is a cord over here. It is given just for the sake of understanding, because I am going to show you the tumor later on. The seminoma arises from the germinal epithelium of the seminiferous tubules. It forms 60% of the germ cell tumors. It can be preceded by an intratubular seminoma called as carcinoma in situ. It is associated with infertility, cryptorchidism, and sometimes a contralateral germ cell tumor. These are all the associations. Please make a note of it. And going to the types, it is divided into the classical seminoma, spermatocytic seminoma, and an anaplastic seminoma. These three types we should mention. This is a specimen of a seminoma. You find that there is a tumor, a well circumscribed tumor, and there is the rest of the parenchyma. The tumor is large, ovoid in outline. It almost replaces the entire testis. The external surface, that is the external tunica, is smooth. Sometimes there can be some infiltration, but generally it is smooth with an intact tunica. The cut surface is soft, grayish pink to grayish yellow. And the tumor, as you see, it is bulging above the cut surface. It is taken from web pathology. This is another specimen, and the description continues. You find it is homogeneous, and there can be some lobulations, which we can see in this. There are no areas of hemorrhage or necrosis. The epididymis can be thickened. There is thickening of the cord, but the tunica generally it appears intact. This is a microscopic picture. The slide is also kept for you in the exam, so also the specimen. Look at this one, it's a tumor straight away. I am not seeing the normal tubules. These are all the tumor cells, and they are arranged in nests. I am seeing a clear cytoplasm. Look at this one. there is a clear cytoplasm. It can be because of glycogen or lipids. And these are all the septae that are separating it. This pale pinkish stitch is a septate. And I'm finding multiple dark blue dots, which are the lymphocytes. So remember, tumor cells, large, round, and polygonal, vacuolated cytoplasm, fibrous septae infiltrated by lymphocytes. And this is a higher version of it. You people should be able to explain this. I am seeing large tumor cells and there is a clear cytoplasm. Some of them are showing prominent nucleoli. Nucleoli means a dark dot in the center. I'm able to see this. So blue arrow points to the vacuolated cytoplasm and the yellow one to the lymphocytes, and the blue arrow again over here, it is a fibrocollagenous stroma or septate. Prominent nucleoli, glycogen, lipids, syncytial cells. Syncytial means they are all joined together. That is not there in this picture. So please explain this in detail. It is going to fetch you marks. Sometimes this is the same picture I am showing, but a similar histology can be seen in a dysgerminoma as well as a pinealoma. So this you people should be mentioning as a differential diagnosis. I had done that when I covered dysgerminoma of the ovary. A second type is a spermatocytic seminoma, in which there will be three types of cells. There will be small cells, there will be large cells, and then there will be multinucleated giant cells. And this is the source of the picture thanks to them. The cells are medium sized, small cells, or giant cells. Polymorphism, that is variation in size and shape. Sometimes there can be dark coma-like structures called spireme bodies, and mitosis can be seen. Whereas in a classical seminoma, mitosis is very rare. And this spermatocytic seminoma generally occurs in older individuals of the age 60 to 65. These are the pathways of spread of a seminoma. Direct extension, it can go to the epididymis, the tunica vaginalis, and the spermatic cord. Lymphatic, the para and the pre-aortic lymph nodes and the iliac lymph nodes. Vascular to the lung, liver, bone, or sometimes brain also. These are the various stages. Stage 1 is in situ. Stage 2 is there is a local spread, and stage 3 there is a distant spread. Please remember this, and this diagram is for your recapitulation. Regarding the investigations, the tumor markers are oncofetal antigens such as alpha fetoprotein. It is derived from the trophoblastic cells, and human chorionic gonadotropin from the syncytial trophoblastic cells. LDH is raised, and this can be used for staging. The tumor markers you people should mention. Both alpha fetoprotein as well as HCG are increased in a case of seminoma. Radiologically, the chest X-ray can be used for metastasis, CT scan for staging of the tumor, ultrasound to find out whether there is any tumor in the contralateral testis. And this is one variant which we had missed, which is the anaplastic seminoma. Anaplastic itself means somewhat alarming. So there will be pleomorphism, there will be mitosis, and generally it carries a poor prognosis. So please remember the three types: the classical, spermatocytic, and the anaplastic seminoma. Sometimes seminoma can occur along with other tumors, such as the teratoma. Danke.